Peace world. What is going on? Happy Friday. Welcome to another Substantial Weekly. My name is Substantial and it is great to see everybody. Shout out to folks in the chat or folks just viewing right now. Got a great show per usual, man. Always happy to see folks. First and foremost, shout out to those of you in the chat. Shout out to Happy Mochi. What's good, sis? It's good to see you up in here. Thanks for joining us. Warpath, what up, bro? What up, bro? Good to see you up in here. Muck, peace. India's in the house. As always, let us know where y'all are watching from in the world. We always love to see that over here. So definitely. I'm working on a question that I'm going to throw to the chat in a bit that's going to deal with something that I'm going to talk about toward the end of the show after our guest finishes up. So look out for that in a second. But man, shout out to those of you viewing right now. Shout out to the folks who are watching and haven't joined the live chat yet. Don't be shy. Feel free to jump in. The water's warm. You know what I mean? No pressure. Maybe a little bit of pressure. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I got 3 of the things. I got, I think, one more thing to add. Oh, yeah. Let me add this one to the poll. And this is for everybody watching on YouTube. Yep. Cool, man. A lot is happening behind the scenes per usual. I think, hold on. I think I got it. Yes. All right, here we go. So the poll is live now. Feel free to, you can just go ahead and answer the poll throughout. When we actually get to the part of the show where we're talking about the information in the poll, I need y'all to make your suggestions then. Save your suggestions for then too. You don't have to jump in early with it. But again, man, peace to everyone in the chat. Let me throw some banners up real quick and then we're going to get ready to bring in our guest. Let's see. Let's get this up on the screen. Peace, world, and welcome. Making sure everybody know what it is. Back to this chat. Let's see. Who else we got up here? Uncrowned Otaku in the building. Peace. Was good. We got Paul tuning in from Germany. Dope. That's what's up, man. And the rest of the folks will be joining us a bit later. So let's get into it. Oh man, yes, that's a big one. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month, Latino Pride. Word, that's what's up. Listen, so listen, we got the perfect guest for y'all today. Then you know what I mean. Look at that divine timing right there. I see her laughing in the back. So I'm gonna get ready to introduce our guest for today. Let me adjust something, get it up on the screen, and we'll get into it. All right, let's see. Boom. Got that Shazam, look at it. Boom, there we go. Our special guest today, my sister from another mister. Listen, this poet, this person, Anacaona Rocio Milagro, and I go back over 20 years. This project that we worked on together, man, we're going to talk about it in detail, and then we're going to do something where she comes down in person to talk about it even further. But man, this album is something really, really special. And for those of you who haven't heard it yet, hopefully this serves as another reason for you to stop BSing and go ahead and put it in rotation. But yeah, To Make an Island of a Street Corner is an album from Anacaona that is mostly produced by me, but I brought in a lot of my friends, from AJ Rios to Mason Lieberman to Stephanie Gale to Lizzie Blue to Jonathan Smalls. These are all names that y'all have seen on other projects I've done. So it was a family affair. And yeah, man. And, I'm going to bring her in so we could tell you even more about it. But super excited for y'all to meet her and more excited for y'all to hear this album. Everybody, welcome my sis, Anacaona. Here we go. Let's get her in here. Peace. What's going on, sis? How you feeling? All right, good to see you up in here. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. How are you?
Life is good, man. Life is good. It's not without its challenges, but yeah, man, we're resilient and we push through. So, but I'm super happy to have you here. You know what I mean? You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I don't really do live.
Yeah, I know this is a big deal. Listen, for those of y'all watching who really don't know, man, she's a bit of an elusive one. You know what I'm saying? So, I think this is special for a lot of different reasons. One, because she's an amazing poet and writer. Two, like as I mentioned, we have a lot of history. We've known each other for a very long time. And three, this is kind of, while we might not have been working on this exact project the entire time, we started this work like years ago, 2 decades ago. We started working on this. You know what I mean?
This project.
Nah, you good.
Because we started right before I got pregnant with my daughter, 20 now.
Wow.
Right? And then we stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And tried to pick up, and then we had to stop again. But it's all divine timing.
That's real. Yeah, man. So, I mean, listen, I'm going to save some of the accolade dropping for the interview I know you have to do a week from now, you know what I mean? Because we're going to share that a bit later. But for a lot of them that don't know you, outside of the introduction I got, I just gave them, tell them a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you like become a writer? Like, what made you pursue poetry? And yeah, give them a little background.
Okay, sure. Thank you for the opportunity. You can hear me okay? I can't hear you.
How about now? You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
All right, cool. They're saying, hold on one second, sis. They're saying that you have a little bit of an echo, so we're gonna see what. Yeah. We're gonna troubleshoot right now. So, I would say number one, if you have headphones, that'll probably be the easiest way to do it. So what I can do real quick, I'm gonna pull you off the screen, so that way you got a second to do that, and then we'll come back. All right, and see if we can fix it. All right, so we're going to try to resolve the audio issue and then come back. But yeah, man, let's, in the meantime, in between time, let me drop this link in here for y'all so you can go ahead and check the album out. And at some point, we're hoping this time next week or whatever, we'll have her in studio where we'll do some more updates about the project. But here's a link to it right now. Check out her debut LP. Boom. All right. So the link just dropped in the chat. Yeah. So yes. So this is an important one. So when the mic went off, there was no echo. So yeah. So I think part of the issue was when I'm talking, like it was picking up in her mic. But what I'm gonna also do is I'm looking around for headphones. Like I got headphones here too, so I'm gonna grab some as well and see if we can eliminate that. So y'all hold tight 1 second. Let's fix this. All right, 1 minute. Got it. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Check 1, check 2. Got that. All right. So I think we should be good. Once again, if you haven't heard the album yet, be sure to check it out. There's the link right there in the chat. Let's try to bring her back, and hopefully we are good to go. All right.
All right.
Okay. Check. Yes. No echo. Okay.
Yes. I think we're good.
Okay. Cool. So again, all right, folks, meet Anacaona Rocio Milagro, amazing poet. Please give them a little background on yourself. And they said it sounds much better. All right, we win it.
Oh, good.
Cool.
All right, so thank you again for having me. This is amazing. As far as myself, all right, so I honestly, and I know this sounds a little bit bizarre, but I started writing poetry really, really, really young. I was 4 years old. My mom has like a cutout of little poems I would attempt to write so young. And I would tell her at that age, I'm putting together a poetry book, Mommy. I'm putting together a poetry book. And I would like cut little pages and like sew the spine and like actually try to create one that young.
Wow.
My mom introduced me to poetry just honestly, like telling me little childhood songs, little rhymes when we shared a bed when I was young. And she would sing songs to me, and it was one of those things where I just loved it. There was something about hearing language that was beautiful and musical and profound that I immediately just fell in love with. It wasn't something that was like really taught. It was just kind of like a physical, magnetic thing that attracted me to language. And my mom was really the one who introduced me to it. She was the first person to speak some beautiful words that I was just like, wow, that's gorgeous. So young, not really understanding or thinking. It was just like such a subconscious, like default love and attraction that I had to it. And my mom, she never graduated high school or junior high school for like she grew up in St. Thomas, and she was adopted, and her parents. Her adopted mom passed away. She ended up like in group homes and all of that. But she's like the kindest, sweetest soul. And, even though she didn't have like this education or whatever, there's no poet greater than my mom. Like
wow.
She will sneeze something and it's profound and poetic and the most beautiful lines I've ever heard. Like she folds me over all the time, and it's just effortless things that come out of her mouth. And I think
wow.
A lot of us can relate to that when we hear our grandmothers or our grandfathers or any elder from any part of the world speak, and you just like fold over. It's like proverbs and parables that are just effortless. It's just in them. And I do believe that I like genetically inherited that from my mom. So I've been writing poetry and been in love with poetry. I would genuinely say I think I was born into it. Like I don't think it was something that I could have developed on my own. I think I came with it before I even entered the world, to be honest. Like in a most humble, honest way, I really mean that. So I just would write. Like there's a track in the album called Without Grammar, right? And I grew up in New York City, born and raised in Washington Heights. I still live in Washington Heights. I went to school, and the school system in New York City was not great for writers or for anybody. I don't know, but I could say in the 80s and 90s when I was growing up, it wasn't a really strong education, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was still right, because it's not something you can turn off, right? When you're born with this passion and this love and this art and this, you can't turn it off.
Right.
But if you're not taught these literary tools, right? If you're not
Mm-hmm.
given the education on what grammar is and all of that, then when you enter the literary world, which is, you know, completely consumed by academics and writers that like do gatekeep and do, you know, they pay attention to grammar and all of that.
Right.
They didn't teach us grammar. So for me, knowing that I'm a writer, knowing that I'm a poet, and not having any tools, you know, not understanding the laws of grammar and all of that, because it was never taught to me, was definitely difficult, right? But
Right.
I couldn't turn it off, no matter how much people would like critique and all of that. I can't turn this off. Like, I have to write.
Right.
And even if it was grammatically incorrect, it was still what I got from my mother. It was profound and musical and beautiful. I was writing metaphors before I knew what a metaphor was, right? Like, but you do it because this is what I was taught. My mom, you know, was very heavy into the Bible, and she would I have older brothers and I'm the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
She would sit us all together, and I was learning critical reading and how to break down a metaphor, even though she didn't explain it that way. That's what we were doing, right?
Wow.
And I was the youngest, so I'm sitting there 4 years old, learning, understanding, you know, through Bible text, which is deep, right?
Mm-hmm.
How to deconstruct the metaphor and how to reconstruct the metaphor, and not with those words, right? Because we didn't understand that that's what we were doing, but that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
And so, like, creating image and creating a metaphor and having music and having feeling and like just provocative language, those were the tools that I grew up mastering without knowing I was mastering them.
Right.
Yeah. So is
Yeah,
that
man.
too much?
That was amazing. Yeah, man. Shout out to your mom. Shout out to literally, like, I think what regardless of how people feel about religion, right? Different types of religion. I think the one thing that so many of these books, so much religious texts have in common, it's very like poetic. The storytelling is amazing and stuff. And so, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but like some years ago, myself and this MC who used to go by Majesty, God bless the dead, and then this stand-up comic, I can't remember her name, I didn't know her before, just met her while we were doing the thing, but anyway, we were all invited by Union Theological Seminary to speak at the school and basically talk about the connection in the parables of Jesus, right? And the grassroots movement, hip hop, and also stand-up comedy. So like basically talk about the creative writing parts of our profession and how we sometimes send deeper messages with a less straightforward approach, which a lot of Bible texts, a lot of texts in different holy books kind of do, it just frames the story a particular way. Leaves a lot of room for different types of interpretation, a lot of metaphor and stuff like that. So it's dope that your mom was exposing you to this like so young. And yeah, man, send a quick sidebar, but they're connected to what we talking about. Everybody send a prayer up for my man Powerful. Send a prayer up for him for sure. And but yeah, man, he has this great line that he said in one of his old rhymes. He was like, I don't rap, I record my quotes. Right. And like, so when I'm listening to you talk about your mom and how she speak and how like just engaging in daily conversation with her, like she was a poet in just how she communicated on the regular. And I feel like so many different people I've met in the Black and brown communities, in all my travels, right? Like all over. There's some people that when they speak, man, you stop like man, I feel like we need to put a mic on you now. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, I think of this one pastor I work with when I worked at Covenant House, Washington. Anytime I spoke to him, like he'd ask me a question, I'd reply, and then his reply to my reply almost always, like, it felt like we were exchanging bars, right? Like, Stan, how you doing? It was like, man, I'm hanging in there. And he's like, well, you can hang in because he hung out. And then he just walk off. You know what I mean? So stuff like that. Yeah, for sure. Nah, that's super dope. So let's talk about this project a bit. To make an island of a street corner. Let's just, that title, right? I'm gonna say to you what Chuck D said about one of my album titles. He heard the title and he was like, man, that's a great title. The moment you said that title to me, I was like, hey, that title's a bar. Like, itself, come on, yo. So give me the story of the title, like give folks some context, like what they should expect when they hear this album, you know.
Yeah, that's my cat.
Hey, what up?
All right, yes, I'm so happy with this title. Thank you for saying that. That's super encouraging. So the title came from a line in a poem, and the poem is on the album. It's called Lunch Lady Jackie. I wrote that poem, believe it or not, and it's been edited ever since. But I wrote that poem when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
And
wow.
It's a really old poem. And of course, I've edited through all these years. And now it's finally in its final version. Sorry. And there's a line. So, Lunch Lady Jackie, elementary school, I had a lunch lady. And she was amazing. Every time I saw her, I just would light up because her spirit was just that grand, right? Like, you be in her presence and you just feel her energy was always so uplifting and positive and fun. The minute you see her on site, you just get excited and you feel like jumping up and down. And she would always return that energy every day. So I loved her. Lunch Lady Jackie was the lunchroom celebrity, right? So I'm talking about being in third grade and seeing her and just getting online and just wanting to give her a high five, just wanting to be in her sight of vision gave me life. So I love Lunch Lady Jackie. And, I went to school 5 blocks away from where I lived. And 2 years later, I grew up in the 80s. And I remember seeing her 2 years later. I was walking with my mom. She was holding my hand. And I turned to the side and I see Lunch Lady Jackie on the corner, and she's completely, unfortunately, like strung out, right? And she doesn't, her eyes are like wide open, and I'm in her line of vision, but she doesn't see me, right? Because she's like shaking and completely, going through something, but her stuff is there on the corner, and you could tell, like, that's where the line came from. Like, she made an island of that street corner. She fell victim to, the crack epidemic at the time. And it was the first time in my life that I had experienced someone go through the transition. Like, growing up, I'm mad young. So I knew people who were, for my whole life, unfortunately, I knew them as a person that was struggling with addiction. Like, you'll see Papo from the block, and Papo always been strung out. So we knew Papo, that's Papo, right? Like, that was nothing shocking because I've always seen him in that way, unfortunately, right? But I never saw someone go from, before and after. And I was so young. That was such, like, how could this happen to her? Like, it was such a shocking, heartbreaking, confusing moment to see someone, transition into that space. And that's all I could think. Like, it was still to this day, I'm just like, how did that happen? And across the street, like, not even outside the window of our cafeteria, because this is exactly what I thought when I saw her. I was like, oh my God, like, there's a crack is wax sign right outside our window. Like, did you not see that? Like, it was at the time, during Reagan, and we had, the Just Say No campaign being poured into our ears over and over again. So I was just like, how did she not hear that? Like, all we hear is say no. Like, And I wasn't like judging her. I was just trying to understand, like, how did this happen to her?
Right.
You know? And,
Yeah. I feel like for children, like,
yes.
it's very simple, right? Like, yo, like, all right, they said don't do this, don't do that. You know what I mean?
Right,
And, yeah.
So it was just very shocking and very confusing and heartbreaking. And it really messed me up. It messed me up so hard. I didn't really understand that could happen to people. And then obviously I'm a poet. I wrote about it, and then I would, you know, bump into the poem again as years would go by. I would be in college, and I'm like, well, let me rewrite this. Let me rewrite this. And I started to notice through a theme throughout all of my poems was this idea of people being stuck, right? This idea of all of these different ways of being stuck, and how it affected me and my community and my family and people that I love and the people that I grew up around. How in all these different ways we were kind of being isolated and pushed into our little corner, because in New York City you have zip code zones and poverty lines, and you know, in these particular areas it's almost like we live in such close proximity to wealth. Poverty and wealth are like on top of one another, but to keep the impoverished in their corner, you have all of these strategic forms of oppression, right? You have redlining, which is, you know, national, right? And you have, you know, policing, police brutality. At that time, you have the 1994 drug bill being launched, and Giuliani was the mayor, and he gave, you know, all power to the NYPD to like just, you know, harass us and put us and just keep us in line, I guess, if you so to speak, to not ever progress away from that particular corner, right? We did definitely feel cornered, like backed into a corner. So that's where the title came from. It came from a line from that poem, Lunch Lady Jackie, where I said, you know, she made an island of a street corner. And then I figured that was the thread that kind of was woven throughout almost 90% of the poems that I was writing when I was communicating and reporting about the experience of growing up in the 80s and 90s in an impoverished section of a city, of an urban city, right? Because it's not just New York City. This was happening all over, right? So I understood that this needed to be reported, right? Like this needed to be discussed. And I felt like, you know, through my lens, where I was seeing it from, you know, a young girl growing up and watching all of this happening, like there was just a little bit of justice that I could reclaim by saying these things out loud, by like almost feeling like I'm telling on y'all. Y'all not just gonna get away with this. I'm gonna tell on y'all. I'm not gonna let us go through all of these horrific experiences and let it just be brushed under the rug. Like these stories need to be told. And that's what I was attempting to do with this album and with all the work that I do, actually.
Yeah. No, you did an amazing job, sis. I think, you know, so much of what you're saying right now rings true to me in so many different ways. I remember, I think I moved to New York in 97. And obviously New York was a lot different then, but you still saw some remnants of Giuliani's New York, right? And so I remember, like, before I moved to New York, most of my time in Maryland, in Prince George's County, Maryland, or PG as we call it, was very much me staying in the areas that are pretty much reserved for people like me. And every now and then, because of the type of schools I got into, like magnet programs or tag programs, I would get the opportunity to go to some places, whether it was field trips or competition related, etc., where I didn't see a lot of people like me. And a lot of times, some of my early experiences with different types of oppression or racism, you know, just people being really, really showing who they are, basically, through their words and actions. A lot of my early experiences with that were those few times I'd really kind of branch out of my neighborhood, with the exception of times where cops would come into our neighborhood. So when I got to New York, And New York was really the first time where there kind of weren't no limit. There weren't any limits, at least to me, on where I could go, right? Because I wasn't home. I was a visitor. So everywhere was new to me. But man, I remember like going into Manhattan and going to see whoever live, seeing these dope live shows. First time I ever saw Special Ed perform live, Master Ace, Buckshot. I could drop so many legendary names. But in those moments, inside of those clubs, we were safe, right? And then we'd come out, and then afterwards, we'd be in the cypher, sharing rhymes, just legends falling through. I've been out front of venues and like actors, famous rappers, like you name it, like have just kind of dropped up. I met, all right, I'm gonna get some random joints and then we get back to the story and the point. What's one of the actors from The Wire, the guy who played Barksdale, I forget the actor's name, but the actor that played Barksdale from The Wire just popped up in one of our ciphers one time and was rhyming. Another time we were out front of a club and the rapper from CNC Music Factory. That's just so random. This dude's like smash pop hits, just outside of the club in a cypher with us. You know what I mean? Yeah. But New York, that's New York. You know what I mean? Like so anyway, we'd be in these moments where these larger than life moments for me. But then like here come the cops, right? Like basically, what are y'all doing here? You know what I mean? Like this isn't your community. This is not where you're supposed to be, right? Let me make sure you are escorted back to your little island, your island within this island, right? Because you're not supposed to be here. And that happens so much when we weren't doing anything, right? Like other than just living, being as free as we could in those moments. So yeah, it was just a crazy time. But yeah, so much of what you're saying, like, even me being from where I'm from, like I saw that and saw how it impacted, saw how the crack epidemic impacted family members and stuff. Trying to figure out why my cousin was always living in the basement of my grandma's house and why he didn't come out much and stuff, and realizing later on, like it being connected to his drug addiction and stuff like that. And yeah, man, yeah, it's I'm gonna quote one of the fans, one of the people in the chat, one of the members of our community, man. They said something really dope about one of your lines, but you paint pictures with your words in a way that few others have really mastered. And like, you literally, I don't care where I am listening to your stuff. Like when I was flying to North Africa a couple weeks ago, like I'm listening to you on the plane, and it's just like 1 second I'm looking out of the windows and I'm above the cloud, and then the next thing you know, I'm on a New York City block. You know what I mean? And listening to Shipwreck poem while looking out the window and seeing water was an experience in itself. Like, oh my God. But yeah, you definitely your way with words and how you transport people, it's not only an amazing gift, but it is clearly a skill that you've developed over time that you've mastered. You know what I mean? So honored to work with you. I'm gonna go to the chat real quick so we can get them involved, because they said some really cool cool stuff. So this is Paul. Paul is a diehard supporter from Germany. He said, I listened to it yesterday. Great record. I found it very moving. One of the lines that stuck with me was taking care of my family tree stump. And he's like, so sorry, don't know if that's 100% correct. I know exactly what, he got it. Yeah, man, that line was fire, so
thank you.
Yeah, let the people know, like, if they haven't heard you before, right? And one, let me just tell everybody, it's a quick listen. It's heavy. It's a heavy listen, but it is a quick listen. Like the project's about 24 minutes or 20 minutes long. Yeah. So beautiful thing about that, repeat value. So you can play it and be like, man, that was a lot. That was powerful. Man, let me run that back. But for someone who's never heard you before, if you had to give them a track, obviously they could just start from the beginning and listen. But if they only got time to listen to one, what's the one that you really feel like is the best representation of you in this project?
Whew, that's a hard question, man.
I know, it's like trying to pick. It's like trying to pick between your children. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like they're all special for different reasons.
Wow. One that would represent me and my work. Wow. I guess it would be a tie between Without Grammar and Lunch Lady Jackie. Yeah, it would have to be those two.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's a part of me that's like might be a time to share one with them. You know what I mean?
Let's do it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna play one track with y'all. I'm not gonna play too much and ask too many questions because we got Black Barbara Walters, aka Rochelle, my wife, who's gonna interview Anacaona real soon, and so that's gonna be a really, really in-depth conversation. It's gonna be super dope. For those of y'all who know about my podcast with my wife called Artistry, it's basically going to be a special edition version of that. So we're gonna save some of that energy for that, but we're gonna definitely get into one of the tracks right now. Let me bring it up. I had it here a second ago. Your boy slipping. Here we go. All right. Let me make sure y'all can hear this. And so right now I'm gonna play the track. Hey, look, Rochelle, right on cue. She says, "Hey." All right, her ears were burning. All right, so we're gonna play the track Without Grammar right now. Those of you in the chat, let me know if it's coming through well, and then we'll come back with questions from some of the. I think we got at least 2 more questions, or at least 1 more question. So we'll get to that, and I know you got a dip, but yeah. So let's get into the track and then bring in the question. All right.
No problem.
There we go. No problem. All right. Let me know if that's coming through. Okay. All right. Hold on. I think I know why. Let's try this again. I know why. Technology. It's disrespectful. Okay, here we go. Got it. Here we go.
In the beginning, all poets were illiterate. Our elementary public school ain't teach no grammar. Thank God the universe don't abide by zip code zones and poverty lines. In the beginning, all poets were illiterate. On clear nights, I'd write under the gold glow of a one-eyed black cat. My whack-ass teacher warned me to just write the moon. Our elementary public school thrived, making sure born writers remained wild. Brutal fistfights with muses produced big bang bursting poems full of blood, salt, and mucus. The words had to get out. Like music or violence, possession don't ask permission. One way or another, these motherfucking words got out. We never called our elementary public school grammar school, cause it ain't teach no grammar. Kids got all the way through high school and ain't never heard of no Oxford comma. That's some rich people shit. Chop the legs off little girls and boys chasing destinies of creating poetry since the age of 4. Fence birds from flight, flowers from full bloom, but the raven or the rose gonna do what it do. We literary convicts don't give a fuck, spit raw language, make it up, fire it off, flaming hot tongues, words that sprout taste buds on bones, spicy, feel it in your whole body, only to be copied, unsighted, in our lawless words that sing swinging first, that don't ask permission, that Richter when spoken, that slap past the margins, won't be awarded no honors. Goddamn gatekeepers.
Man. Hold on. Make sure that echo goes away. But yo, hey, you know what I'm saying? Get the applause going. Yeah. Sis, that joint, man. Yeah.
You killed the production on that. You
thank you.
murdered that production.
Yo, I appreciate it. Thank you, sis. Listen, as I said before, like, you made it, you know, definitely. I've produced for a few folks, and like, with the exception of like one or two of the instrumentals on there, a lot of the instrumentals were built around the stuff you were saying. So, you know what I mean? And even the two times that it wasn't, still like remolding it to what you were saying. You made it easy in a lot of ways. Just the inspiration was there. And so, yeah, man, shout out to you. I feel like that's a great way to lead into this question, since, you know, talking about how inspiring the writing was. Paul says, is everything biographical on the record? The last part about the brother was really heavy. I think I know exactly what track he's referring to, but yeah, it's funny. It's not funny, actually, but I know Rochelle, my wife, asked the exact same question when I played it for my barber, my boy Sherm, who was in the live too. He asked a similar question, like, yo, like, this really happened? Like, so can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. All of it is autobiographical, and there is that one track that I'm sure that you're referring to. It's called To Deify a Roach, an American Horror Story. It's really, really hard for me to listen to that track, and I feel bad, you know, like, if my family hears the track, especially like my brothers, it is like reliving trauma, right? Because it is very, it's painful to the point where even in the poem, I'm telling you, I'm not going to tell you about these things. I'm briefly giving you a little bit, and even the little bit that I'm saying is so heavy and so hard, you know, but that's what we have to do as writers. Like, I feel like I'm not going to cower away from the feelings that these memories provoke, right? I have to be authentic, and unfortunately, as I'm writing all of this, I do relive it. Like, I have to relive it in order for me to tell it and allow the feeling, the honest feeling that I'm experiencing. I need the sincerity and the honesty of that to be propelled and communicated through the work, through the poem, right? Because that's the point, right? And there's another line in another poem called Desahogarse, Undrowning, where it's like shared suffering dilutes suffering, right? And I can't keep all of this to myself, right? Like, I'm sharing all of this in hopes to, one, I don't want these stories to be just swept under the rug. I don't want all this pain and suffering that was inflicted in our communities to just be like, y'all got to swallow that and we're going to just keep living our lives. Like, nah, we're going to talk about this. We're going to put a lens to it. We're going to telescope in it, and you're going to know exactly what this felt like, what this smelt like, what you did to these communities, and how hurt and how exactly that looked, you know? Even if it was in the home of a 10-year-old girl watching her brothers being ripped out of their homes and watching, you know, police brutality, watching the violence of that and how you cope with it or even try to escape from it. You know, there's themes of suicide, there's themes of so much violence, and it's the truth, right? It makes no sense to cower away from all of that. So yes, all of these stories, unfortunately, are autobiographical, and I'm not sharing them. And there's another line in the poem Desahogarse that says, you know, like, you know, pain is basically universal. It's not like I'm trying to sell pain or create trauma porn or any of that. I didn't come out with all this work with that intention. It was literally the intention of, this happened, you're not going to sweep it under the rug, our stories matter, and by saying these things, it's basically get a little bit of justice for my family and the communities that this happened to, right? It was just my form of saying, like, no, I'm telling on y'all. I'm telling on you, government. I'm telling on you, you know, like everything that was allowing all of this oppression and brutality. And honestly, it's just ruined lives, like really, truly ruined lives, how a lot of this policy was being executed in our communities, and the cost of that and the pain of that and what that looked like. I'm not going to keep that to myself. Like, we're going to talk about it. So yeah, it was not easy, and there's some tracks on the album that I personally have to shy away from because it rips me open. But I understand, you know, like if I'm going to do this, I have to commit, and I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm going to be 1,000%, and I'm going to rep my family, and I'm going to rep the communities that were ripped apart. I'm going to rep them as best as I can with the talent that I have and give it my all. And I hope to God that I did that. So if they hear it, they're like, damn, my story's being shared in a very accurate, precise, honest way that can be heard and ingested in a way that it can touch people's hearts and understand, bring humanity back into all of these communities. And really the point of it is to say, this was unjust, this was unfair, and this is what it really looked like. The aftermath of it and during of what people had to, you know, experience and have to survive. So that's, and hopefully avoiding a lot of policies like that to reemerge would be another goal that I would want to happen outside of my art.
Yeah. Nah, man. Listen, give you all of the praise, all of the support. Sis, thank you. You know what I mean? Thank you for sharing your gifts, and thank you for trusting, you know, me with, you know, your art. I know how, you know, I think a few minutes ago I made reference to like trying to pick between tracks is like trying to pick between children, right? So I say all that to say that like I recognize how precious your work is, and I'm grateful that, you know, you chose me of all people to be able to walk this path with you and help, you know, help allow people to be able to step into your world, get to know you and your art a bit better. A lot of the folks in the chat have been referring to something I say all the time, which is I always say my friends are dope. And so Soul Tiger says, man, now I have to wonder if Stan will make an LP titled "My Friends Are Dope" with every track having a feature of Stan's awesome friends. So yeah, so nah, you know, I don't take our relationship like for granted, and so I'm really grateful that we were able to reconnect after all this time, and we're not completely finished, but begin to finish this work we started, you know, over 20 years ago. So thank you. You know what I mean?
No, thank you. Honestly, like, I know, like, there's one thing to write these things, but what you did and your team did, it's just wow. Like, you truly are a scientist, and you do really genuinely have good people around you. So to collect all of that brilliance and all of that talent and all of that honest, like, true, like, good people who are really committed, passionate, wonderful people to just come on the project. I feel so lucky. I feel so lucky to have worked with all of y'all. And thank you. You never gave up on me. You know, like, I was sick when you came to record half of these tracks. You came after I had a stroke. You came to my house in New York City and recorded some of this with me, and you never gave up on me. So thank you. I'll never ever be able to repay you for that, you know, for your support and your love and your commitment to my art. Like, it is so profoundly appreciated. So thank you so much. I feel really lucky to have worked with you.
Man, listen, it's you know, like I said, you know what I mean? Like, it was it's an honor and a privilege. So thank you. Real quick, I just wanted to, you know, shout out again some of the dope people you just mentioned. The one person I didn't mention before, which was a big part in making all of this sound as amazing as it does. Tone, my man, Tone Deaf. Tone Deaf, a lot of y'all know from Q and 5 music, and and fellow member of Extended Fam and the Plague. But Tone also mixed my album Adultish, but Tone mixed and mastered this project top to bottom. He also re-recorded some of the tracks that we initially recorded, as she mentioned. I brought my portable setup to her place in New York to record some of this while she was sick, and then things that needed to be cleaned up a bit, like we redid with Tone. And so shout out to him for really joining this band of misfits and and just making something that already was pretty solid and sounded pretty good, like taking it to the next level and making it sound amazing. So shout out to him for mixing and mastering it. Again, thank you to Stephanie Gale. Y'all already know that's my other sister from another mister. The thing I say about Steph all the time, I feel like I might have said it to you, but I say anytime we can add Steph to something, Steph makes things better. You know what I mean? Yeah. So shout out to Steph. Shout out to Lizzie Blue, who played on Stillmatic. Shout out to Jonathan Smalls, who plays live bass on the intro, on the opening track, Shipwreck Poem. Shout out to AJ Rios, who came right here in the studio. I picked the sample, he flipped the sample, and then after he left, I tinkered and did my scientist thing with his track. And best part was he didn't hear it until we released it. He didn't hear the changes, the basic stuff I added, but he was like, "Man, how do you do that?" And I was like, "What you mean?" He was like, "Bro, like the changes you made." And like the outro I added to the Lunch Lady Jackie track, he said, "It's I did it in a way where it sounded like something he would do." And so when he said that to me, I was like, "Well, I'm a fan of you, so it's like if I'm gonna do something to your stuff, I'm gonna try to make it sound like it's just an extension of what you would normally do, not like me forcing my way." On it. And so shout out to him, and shout out to Mason Lieberman as well, man. Mason being the mad genius he is too. But thank you, sis. I know you got to go. I know you originally was like like 30 minutes. I tricked you in. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Glad you're welcome to pop up anytime you want. Just let me know. You know what I mean? You got some free time on a Friday afternoon, you always welcome to come hang,
Thank you so much.
All right. But yeah, everybody in the chat, y'all stick around. We're going to let Anacaona go, but of course you and I, we got to talk a bit later anyway, so we can figure out your trip down here. But sis, love you, appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. All right. Have a good one, y'all.
All right. Cool. All right, family. So, man, shout out again to our guest, Anacaona Rocio Milagro, for making time for us. Yeah, man, I am super excited for y'all to hear the entire project. It's out right now. Definitely be sure to check out the album, To Make an Island of a Street Corner. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's, I'm really, really proud of the work that I did on it. Really proud of the additional contributions of all my friends who contributed to the record. Man, hold on. Oh no, yeah. I'm sorry, Warpath, but yeah, this won't be the last time she'll pop up. And but before I move on, something I just realized that we forgot to mention. So I'm gonna bring it up on screen right now. Let's put this up here. So we're gonna switch that. Boom. So real quick, if you go to that link that I dropped in the chat, which there's also a link in the description of this video, you'll be able to check out more about the album, stream it on the different platforms. But this is something important that I forgot to mention. These poems are also available in book format, right? And so, yeah, you can buy the book right now on Amazon by following that same link. But yeah, definitely check out the book, check out the album. It's amazing work. Super proud to be able to contribute to it. And shout out to Anacaona once again. All right. On that note, we're going to keep it moving. Got a few more things to jump into and remind y'all about. Hold on. Let's get to some of the questions and comments. Great guest, great conversation. Definitely want to hear more and want to follow her. Yeah, you can follow her on Instagram. She's on Instagram. It's poet.anacaona. Poet.anacaona on Instagram. So be sure to follow her. Yes, Sherm was here early on. He was co-signing the album, telling y'all how dope. He did pop back up. There you go. We're back trying to get extra credit points. What up, Sherm? Great to see you up in here, bro. Got to check in with you a little later today. By the way, I sent those pictures to him this morning. The rest of y'all will see what we're referring to a bit later. Yeah, let me. Man, Soul Tiger says Stan could produce it from top to bottom. And if stars align, Tone could mix and master it. Yeah, I mean, talking about for that My Friends Are Dope project, that would be amazing, man. I definitely have thought about that several times. It's just a matter of talking to my friends about which of them would be open to allowing me to use the music that we've done together to put on a project, or me just whether I take the songs I've already done or if I produce something all new. I think a lot of y'all will probably want to hear me do something all new, but yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. So anyway, let's get into the next thing. Hold up, fix that screen. Boom. Couple quick reminders before we get into the merch stuff, which reminds me, let me go over here so take a look to see how it's doing. Okay. Got it. So the poll is still going on. If y'all haven't seen it, we've only got 16 votes on the poll. If you haven't voted yet, please make sure you do so. 31% so far says they want a Bop Alloy hat. We're going to talk about that. 25% are interested in To This Union vinyl. 25% are interested in the Substantial beanie hat. I'm thinking about doing a tactical beanie, not just any type of beanie hat. So it's going to have like some little bells and whistles on it. And then 19% of you are interested in To This Union, A Son Was Born on CD. So we will definitely circle back. We will circle back to that. Sherm, shut up. Sherm just over here just dropping extra work on me. Like, want to hear my old shit, play my old albums. This is true. He's like, nah, new joints, me. I appreciate you, bro. All right, so couple quick reminders, upcoming events. Next month, first Thursday in October, make sure you attend Sam Academy. Remember, you do not have to attend in person. You can always register and take online classes. You can do that by going to crescendostudiosva.com/Sam-Academy. So our next class that we are teaching is, not to take the headphones off now. Our next class that we're teaching is focused on crowdfunding. So I want to point this out to those of you because I know these are music business classes. So for some of you, you might be like, hey man, I take these classes, but I don't make music, so it's really not my cup of tea. But if you are someone who has a small business or any type of product that you're selling or looking to sell, and you have considered doing crowdfunding, if you've considered doing crowdfunding, you may want to sign up for this class in particular because, you know, our company, we have a lot of experience with crowdfunding. Those of you who are watching this right now have literally supported some of my crowdfunding campaigns. As a company, we've raised over $80,000 for our ventures and collaborative ventures, through crowdfunding. And, you know, in terms of what we've done for other organizations for stuff that we were working on the thing, but it wasn't necessarily our project, we've helped other organizations raise over $400,000, nearly $500,000 in terms of our success with crowdfunding, with a success rating of just under 90% right now. We've only had 2 campaigns ever not reach their full goal. And even in those cases, based on advice that we gave the clients, they were still able to walk away with something as opposed to nothing. So definitely, if that's something you are interested in learning more about, and that's something that even if you don't necessarily need that help, maybe you know someone else who's interested in crowdfunding something, they definitely want to sign up for our next class, because right now we're in quarter 4 in terms of classes that we're offering, and the whole theme of the quarter, this particular quarter, is funding your career. So again, Substantial Art and Music Academy at Crescendo Studios. You can go to crescendostudiosva.com/sam-academy to learn more and register for in-person or online class. All right. Let's go to the next reminder. Yeah, man. So people all over the world, we have a show coming up online. When I say we, I'm talking about my band, who I affectionately call the Sons Hughes. That is me, Stephanie Gale, AJ Rios, Lizzie Blue, and Jonathan Smalls. So, man, if you are interested in checking out that event, you can purchase tickets on my Bandcamp page. You can also go to the bio.site link in the description of this video. But I am also going to hit y'all with gonna hit you with the link right now in the chat, so you can grab tickets for it. There we go. It is gonna happen live on September 29th. Tickets available now. You can grab those right now from Bandcamp. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry, Warpath. I just saw your comment about Shingo's hats. Yeah, you know, I'm sorry, fam. But anyway, definitely check out the upcoming event with me and the Sons Hughes. Is starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 3 p.m. on the West Coast. That is 5 p.m. Central Time. Definitely check it out. What's great about these online live performances is, you know, full disclaimer, it will not be on YouTube. There may be clips of it that go up on YouTube later, but the full performance is only going to be available at Bandcamp. And it's only going to be able to be viewed for like 48 hours. So once you miss it, you've missed it. All right. That is just a quick reminder to you. For those of you who are part of my Patreon, you got to see a clip of one of the songs I'm going to perform, because I showed it on Substantial Sundays, which now only exists on Patreon. So definitely cop your tickets if you haven't already. It's going to be a cool experience. Again, no matter where you're watching in the world and stuff, we can all be there together. So it's one of the advantages of the online shows. So I hope to see you there. Let's keep it pushing. Go to the next. Okay, it's time to talk about merch, ladies and gentlemen. But before we do that, let me get this up on the screen. And switch this banner. So quick reminder, before we do that and before we jump into Q&A, if you'd like to donate to the channel, you can do so via the super chat. You can also do so via Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. It's never mandatory, but it's always appreciated. This is how we keep things going around here. This is how you help keep me and mine off these poles. And you also allow me to purchase and update equipment whenever necessary, which sometimes is necessary. In fact, some of your donations via Patreon and via the channel helped me purchase a new computer, which was like my old computer was well over 10 years old, that I was working on. I was using that computer to do Adultish, but part of the reason why I was able to turn Anacaona's album around so quickly was because I used it on I used my new computer, which is also why the lives have been going so smooth lately too, and that is thanks to y'all support, amongst other things from sales and all of that, and me just reinvesting into the business. But your contributions do make a difference, regardless to how small or large they are. So please consider. But again, it's never mandatory. It's always appreciated. All right. On that note, let's talk about this merch. It's merch time, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So, if you have not been to my online store recently, I know I made mention last week that there was new stuff that would be available on there, and it is live coming to you live. I think I grabbed most of the stuff. I feel like I didn't grab something. All right. Y'all hold that thought. I'm going to get up, grab this stuff real quick. Hold on. Yeah. Yes, there it is. Okay. Coming back. All right. So, lots of new merch on the store. You can see some of it now. We got a Sketchpads posters. For those of you who do not know what Sketchpads is an online event that, or not, pardon me, an in-person event that I do with Substantial Art and Music, my company, and my business partner, Rochelle Etienne Robinson. We host something called Sketchpads, which is a live art and music lounge. So we officially have Sketchpads merch. We have Sketchpads posters, Sketchpads shirts that are illustrated by Micah Blacklight. So I'm gonna give you some close-ups so you can see what that looks like. And then we also have new sticker sheets, which are illustrated by Aria, who's one of our own. Aria, also known as Happy Mochi. And then we got these Substantial pins, which is also illustrated partially by her. And then some include the Black of All Trades pin, as well as the Substantial Art and Music official icon. So we got that new merch. Yeah, I will show you real quick some of the stuff I just referred to, so you can see that pin there. Wait for it to focus. Go ahead, focus. Come on, do it. Trying to make it focus. It won't focus on it. Let's see if I do that. No, still nothing. I tried. Anyway, hold on. I think I got it. Maybe. Anyway, almost the sweet spot. Man, I tried. Anyway, she did the illustration for that pen. She also did these stickers. Some of the stickers you can see here done by her. You see the cassette one is missing. That is because it is already on the back of my computer, one of my computers. Yeah, you know, so these stickers down here were illustrated by Aria, one of our own. Shout out to her. And then the poster I mentioned as well, which is also available on the site, you can grab now. Yeah, and so we got it in different sizes. Check out the illustration by Micah Blacklight. Shout out to my bro. But yeah, so back to these images of the merch. So that's just some of the new merch on the site. That's the sticker sheet there that I mentioned. Also, we now have bucket hats. So right now I'm doing this basically black on black button hats. It has a Substantial logo, which I know it's hard to see for y'all, but it's actually embroidered onto the hat. So like when you see it, depending on how the light hits it, you'll be able to see the logo. But for those of you who don't want the super flashy like stuff, or don't necessarily want the logo like all bright on the hat, sometimes you just want a solid colored hat, but this still has the branding but in a subtle way. So we just added that. And to keep it a million with you, a lot of the merch that I design and put up there is stuff that I would actually wear. I recently made my first bucket hat purchase over the summer, like before I went to Morocco, and I kind of love the look a little bit, and so yeah, I designed I was getting ready to buy a black one, and I was like, well, let me design one. And so you know, I got it manufactured. It's coming here to the studio, so I get to test it out, see how it work with my head. Shout out to the big head people in the room, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully you know, it's kind to me. So yeah, man, I'll be posting pictures modeling the joint soon, so y'all can get a idea to feel. Just a reminder that the posters go as small as 5x7 and as large as 18x24, so cop that. That's the black shirt right there, and then we have the white shirt with the black design on it. Those are the pins that I mentioned and also showed you a second ago. And this is new right here. We got the Kwanzaa 365 hat. You know, holiday season is on its way, so we're definitely looking to do more like, you know, holiday season stuff related to the winter breaks series. I had a conversation I had a conversation with Marcus D about some new winter break related material. So we'll be hopefully updating you about that really, really soon. Let's see, but yeah, this is the new hat. Boom, boom, boom. That's the side of it. You can see like the 7 candles and stuff, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. If you know, you know. If you don't know and got a question, feel free to ask. That's the back of the hat right there. I love the denim look of it. I just love, like, you know, denim designs, or like in general denim clothing. But yeah, man, so yeah, that's the merch. Let me know if you got questions about it. I see a question just popped up from Warpath. Warpath says, out of curiosity, what's your fitted cap size stand? Man, I honestly don't know, because if you hadn't noticed, I never wear fitted caps, right? I only wear snapbacks. Snapbacks and then dad hats, anything that has adjustable sizes, mainly because when I let my hair grow out sometimes, you know, anytime I've had like hats that like were for a specific size, which I think was once ever, so I honestly don't remember what my size is. It was just a problem like when my hair started to grow a little bit, so just to avoid like having to, you know, switch up in terms of my hats, once my hair grows out a little bit, I just stay with the adjustable caps and stuff, the adjustable fit caps. So, you know, whether it's snapbacks or dad hats with the adjustable strap in the back. I didn't mean to rhyme that much. It just happens. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I think that is it for the merch. Let's go back to the poll. Yep, I think y'all are done with the voting on the poll, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here. I did mention that I'm looking to do, you know, To This Union, The Sun Was Born on vinyl and CD. I see that a small amount of you are interested in the CD. This is the old CD that most people do not have a copy of. I know a lot of people got it on vinyl, so I was looking to redo it, like with the art and the layout and all of that. Bringing this stuff back and stuff. So yeah, man. Oh, it's falling apart. But yeah, the cover on the new version would be different. Rather than keeping with this image, it'd be the image of me, Jun, and now all together. So which is what I put on the vinyl. So, but yeah, for those of you interested in the CD, let me know. I would be doing like a deluxe edition of the CD, which means, you know, it would include like some of the remixes that you've heard, maybe one remix or two that you haven't. So there would be some bonus material if I do the CD. So I just wanted to see what y'all feelings are on that. Let me know in the comments. On that note, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, all that good stuff. A couple quick reminders before we dip out. Sharon, peace, bro. I'll speak to you a bit later today. So again, check out the LP I mentioned before. The new LP that's out right now, that's mostly produced by me, and shout out to all my friends who contributed. And then also be sure to check out the live event. If you have not bought tickets for that yet, please do so. It's me and my band recording from Crescendo Studios. Tickets available now, so pick those up when you can. And yeah, man, thank y'all for the continued support. If you want to support the channel, that ticker at the bottom lets you know how you could do so. If you got any questions, last chance to ask. Other than that, I'm gonna get ready to get up out of here. All right, so man, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Yeah, man, shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to y'all for the dope questions and supporting my sis today. I think she had a really great time and stuff. I'll be following up with her later today and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, y'all have an awesome weekend. Stay out of trouble. Love y'all, man. You know, take care of yourselves. All right, peace.